Elections, Tavis.
Yeah. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent here in LA, the day after Election Day. We're going to get to all of that news and more in just a moment. But first things first, I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or just tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And I'll be there for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast, and you'll never miss an episode. So listen, you see those election results? You see how the people are not playing? You see that? Yesterday was a great day for Democrats. A great day specifically for progressive Democrats. It was a great day for Democratic Socialists. It was a day to remember. My. Y'all showed up and showed out. The Republicans got a sneak preview of the shellacking that they might experience in the 2026 midterms if they don't get their act together. So here are some takeaways from the election. Democrats won big. That's obvious. The party came in favored in races from Virginia and New Jersey governor to New York City mayor and California ballot measure to green light a Democratic gerrymandering of the state's congressional maps. But the huge margins in those governor's races and other contests left many Democrats feeling a new emotion, an emotion we haven't felt for quite a while. Excitement for the first time in some time, and the results affirmed the candidate's decision to run an economic-centered campaign highlighting Republicans' troubles with replicating President Trump's coalition. It included other signs of repudiation and warnings for Trump. Will they listen? We'll see. We'll see if they listen. We'll see. It doesn't look like they're listening. You know why? Because they are already busy pushing back against the will of the people. What do I mean by that? The Guardian is reporting that Republicans have filed a lawsuit challenging California's redistricting measure. Republicans in California today filed a federal lawsuit challenging a high-stakes redistricting measure that could flip up to 5 congressional seats for Democrats. The suit filed by David Tajapa, a Republican assembly member, 18 California voters in the state Republican Party in the U.S. District Court of the Central District of California. They're arguing that the new maps are unconstitutional because they're drawn to increase the voting power of a particular racial group. It asked the courts to block the new maps from taking effect, at least temporarily. The measure, Proposition 50, was approved, of course, by voters last night in a decisive victory for Democrats. The plan, it temporarily gives the power to redraw congressional districts to the California legislature, allowing it to adopt maps that will help Democrats pick up 5 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. I think key word is temporarily. This isn't a permanent fix, number one. Number two, this was taken to the people. The people could have rejected this, and they didn't. Same people who said, you know what, we need to have an independent commission drawing the lines, said that what's happening in this country is so offensive to those who believe in democracy that we are going to temporarily allow for Democrats to draw in an additional 5 seats to counterbalance the 5 seats that Trump phoned into Texas and that other Republican states, you know, are attempting to do. And so we're going to see where this thing goes. From California to Capitol Hill, the New York Times reporting that the justices have cast a skeptical eye on Trump's tariffs. A majority of Supreme Court justices today asked skeptical questions about President Trump's use of emergency powers to impose tariffs on imports from nearly every U.S. trading partner, casting doubt on a centerpiece of the administration's second-term agenda. The outcome of the case, which could be decided within weeks or months, has immense economic and political implications for U.S. businesses, consumers, and the president's trade policy. Quite frankly, if this money doesn't materialize, the national debt will explode. That means Wall Street's not going to be happy. We'll see where this thing's going to go. Finally, NBC News reporting that some senators predict the government shutdown, now the longest in history, could end this week, entering its 36th day. The government shutdown is now the longest in American history. Those senators predicted that the impasse could end this week. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen saying he was pretty confident. And after weeks without any movement, bipartisan talks among rank and file members have been picking up, leading to the first public signs of optimism that the shutdown could end soon. Mullen said that Democrats have privately indicated last week that they were willing to vote for the short-term Republican spending bill that would reopen the government through November 21st. But Mullen said Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer had instructed them to wait until after Tuesday's election so they wouldn't depress turnout from the liberal base that's been urging the party to hold the line. Schumer's office has had no comment. We're going to see where this thing goes. I don't see why they would give in to the Republicans, especially after the night the Democrats had just yesterday. But we shall see where this thing goes. When we come forward, we're shifting gears. You might remember that our very own Tavis Smiley was on just yesterday talking about the mess that Southern California Edison has found themselves in. The Altadena Town Hall that we've been advertising, you've heard it on our airwaves, you've seen it written about and spoken about on other media platforms, taking place on Thursday, November 6th at Victory Bible Church, as in the town hall that Southern California Edison agreed to participate in, as in the same town hall that Southern California Edison pulled out of 72 hours before. Yeah, that town hall. We were talking about that yesterday. We're going to get a full update from James Farr, the host of Conversations Live Altadena Rising, right here on KBLA Talk 1580. That is our show of record to ensure that the people of Altadena, who have had to endure already so much, that they are not forgotten and that they are supported and that their stories are amplified. James Farr joins me when we come forward to get a full update and accounting as we prepare for the Altadena Town Hall. You are listening to and streaming More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with James Farr when we come forward.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me!
National news of consequence, informed opinion,
and analysis beyond the headlines.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to welcome my friend, my brother, my colleague, James Farr. He is host of Conversations Live, Altadena Rising, right here on KBLA Talk 1580. You can listen for him every weekend starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday to give you an update on what's happening and what's not happening on the ground in Altadena. We as a station made a commitment earlier this year that we weren't going to forget about the people of Altadena, even when the national cameras and the national press has sort of moved on to the next big headline. This still remains a big headline to us. And James Farr has done a marvelous job keeping us abreast of all the developments afoot, including the announcement of this wildfire compensation fund. Here to, again, separate the fact from the fiction, I want to welcome James Farr to the show. Welcome back, my friend.
Dr. Nii-Quartelai, thank you so much for having me on again, man. It's always a pleasure to be in conversation with you, and an even better opportunity to be in community with you, brother.
Absolutely. That's same here. And so catch us up. Yesterday, Tavis was on. He walked us through the sort of deceptive communication that was put out by Southern California Edison, sort of refuting the idea that they had ever committed to having their leadership, their CEO, participate in the town hall. For folks who may be less familiar, there was a communication that they sent out yesterday that said as much, and also invited folks to participate in their own town hall. So they're doing a virtual town hall this evening with the CEO of Southern California Edison, which has a lot of people scratching their heads, because if he wasn't available on Thursday, how is he suddenly available today? Suddenly. This is the president of Southern California Edison International. And so catch us up, James. What's the latest?
Well, a Southern California Edison communications representative, she's actually the director of external communications, right? And I think that's a very important point to put a pin in. Communications. This is her job, right? The fact is, Tavis has laid it out, and as I've spoken with him continuously about this, is, I'm being very kind and measured in saying that Kathleen Dunleavy is being intellectually dishonest. Doc, the thread of emails tell an entirely different truth that is indisputable in terms of what has actually happened. She has chosen to creatively construct a narrative that now aims to paint and compromise the integrity of our station and Mr. Smiley. And I've made it clear that we stand by what our reporting is. We stand by what our witness is. And if she really wants us to, we'll just release the emails. That's not really the thing that we prefer to do. That's not what journalists do. But if they continue on this path of crafting a narrative, that's just not true, Doc. It's just not true.
Yeah. They are basically calling KBLA and calling our very own Tavis Smiley a liar. Saying that Southern California Edison never committed to this. Now, I think it's strange because this town hall was originally scheduled to happen months ago.
Absolutely.
And because of a scheduling conflict, as I understand it, we pushed it back to November.
Let me break it down for you, Doc. Yes, we were planning and aiming for September. As a ghost or kind of came in and out of the conversation at their whim, and when they decided to, it was expressed clearly from a representative, Scott Johnson, and my request to them was very clear, that we wanted Mr. Pedro Pizzato or Jeffrey Powell, either one of the CEOs with the respective companies. It made no sense for us to bring in front of our community lower level personnel. But nonetheless, they gave me every indication, which I didn't pull up the emails, but gave us every indication that Mr. Powell or Mr. Pizzato would be available around this time. This is why we chose November 6th and not November 7th, and certainly not November 15th. That was based on a schedule, which we now see he is available, right? He's in town, he's going to do something. And so they drug their feet completely on how they were communicating with us. But I am going on record. They were in full awareness. We did it in full disclosure. There's nothing that we hid or was trying to do anything. They signed off on the event in writing. They knew exactly what this event was. Where Miss Dunleavy pulled this out of the sky on Monday morning when she spoke with me, it caught me completely off guard. But more importantly, Doc, when she backed it up and doubled down with saying that her biggest concern was that this town hall would turn into a Jerry Springer show.
Excuse me?
I mean, I don't know if you're Steve and Tavis is Jerry, but you two were moderating. But yes, those are her exact words. And not only did she say that one time, Doc, she said it 3 times. She also said that she told Mr. Smiley that same information several weeks ago. I asked her to put that in writing. She refused to communicate, even that they were pulling out in writing. I just went on another media show this morning, and no sooner than I got off air, she's calling me on my cell phone, demanding to speak with me. I have never seen this type of behavior. It is certainly not professional. And I shudder to think that if you or I had conducted ourselves in such a way, we'd be in trouble.
James, what do you think Southern California Edison's trying to hide? I mean, they recently announced this wildlife recovery compensation fund, and this town hall is supposed to center around understanding that recovery compensation fund, which a number of advocates have sort of poked holes at and have said that this compensation fund is set up in such a way where it essentially gives survivors of the fire one shot at being compensated for their loss, and the compensation really may pale in comparison to the actual harm done and the financial burden bared. And so help me understand, what's your theory of why they are pulling out of participating in a community town hall? Is Southern California Edison trying to hide something?
Well, we have to look at what's right in front of us in the obvious and perhaps bring the audience up to speed. Over 9,000 structures burned, 19 lives lost, upwards of 430 post-fires deaths, a community that has been decimated. What do you think they're trying to hide? Do you really think that they really believe that they're ready to have this conversation in front of the community? And I think, while I can't get in their head, that is a question at this point that Mr. Pedro Pizzato needs to answer directly to Mr. Smiley. What are you hiding, right? But that being said, I believe they are asking a whole lot for $2, right? The settlement fund is not going to be favorable for most people, but it also may be the best solution for some people, if that makes sense. What they're hiding, I don't know. It's not a matter of them interested in that town hall. They committed in writing, Doc, that they would be there, that we all had this conversation, that this is a next step for the community. They need to have this opportunity. We offer to be a bridge for it. That's it. That's all. Ms. Dunleavy, again, is creating and crafting a narrative that fits her needs. It is congruency is important in our community. It's not cool.
Trust is also important in our community. Talk to us about, what are you hearing from survivors of the Eaton fire? What are you hearing from Altadena residents and residents in the surrounding area that were planning on attending the town hall, that were really searching for clarity on this compensation fund so they can make the best possible decision for themselves and their families? What are you hearing from folks on the ground about this fiasco?
What's interesting is some people that I've talked to, they trust us, Doc, more than they trust their attorneys. So the community was looking for us to, again, be that bridge to bring this information for them, because there's 20 something thousand people that all have individual circumstances. So there's not a light switch or a box that we could just put everybody in and everything is fixed. It's very individual. So people have specific questions. We are trusted voices in our community. Mr. Smiley's reputation, your reputation is beyond reproach in this space. So they were counting on us to kind of help usher them through an understanding in a way that they can make the best informed decision. But as I said just a few moments ago, they're asking a lot for $2. And so there's misinformation in the community that people kind of just, it takes on a life of its own. Well, if I do this, I can't do that. They needed a space that they can trust. And we were providing that platform. And we were doing that inside the sanctuary of the Victory Bible Church. I don't know how that turns into Jerry Springer. I don't even know anybody that behaves like that.
I mean, that's offensive to presume that a community town hall, of which this is a follow-up town hall. You might remember we did a community town hall nearby in the area earlier this year. And so this is our follow-up. And there was nothing about that town hall that we did earlier this year that came even close to being a Jerry Springer experience. And it is deeply offensive.
It is.
That any professional that is externally facing at Southern California Edison or anywhere would presume that a town hall with the community that we serve,
I got to push back.
It would devolve.
It wasn't a presumption. It was a declaration. She was convinced.
Even worse. Even worse. And shame on them for making that assumption. It's very clear that they are not in community with us, because if they were in community with us, I don't see how they could say such a thing.
Well, I'm holding out, because what we learned yesterday all day, the executives of Southern California Edison are scrambling and calling community partners. I think what happened is Ms. Dunleavy underestimated the connection of this community, right? As a director, she's not a C-suite. I seriously doubt she even speaks with the executives, right? And so she took it upon herself to make this decision for whatever her reasons are. And now they're trying to scramble to find out, because her decision is literally the pin in the grenade that can blow up what very little trust that they still had left.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, she has blown it up.
In our remaining minutes, James, talk to us about what requests would you make of Mr. Pizarro, who is the president and CEO of Edison International, if he were listening to us right now? What would you implore him to do?
Do the right thing. Take care of your personnel. Issue that apology that Mr. Smiley spoke of in his editorial. Courage is showing up tomorrow. Cowardness is holding your own meeting today. The community has earned and deserves the opportunity to confront, to interrogate, to cry, to feel, to begin to heal. And it was on his watch that utility pole wiped out a Black community. So a different thing is, my question to Mr. Pizarro is, how do you repair your legacy? Because on your watch, your legacy here in this community is you are responsible for 20 something thousands of people being burned out of their homes. That's all I want.
Our thanks to James Farr. James Farr is the host of Conversations Live, Altadena Rising, right here on KBLA Talk 1580. You can hear him every weekend starting on Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. That is our show of record. We thank you for your work and your witness. You all can expect to see James at the town hall tomorrow. I have a little bit of a flight challenge, and so if I'm not there, you better believe you're going to be in the best of hands between Tavis Smiley and James Farr, and a panel that is tethered to the community. Mm-hmm. These aren't Johnny and Jane come latelys. These are folks who have been in the community, who are still sticking by the community. I can't imagine why Southern California Edison wouldn't want to be a part of this event happening at Victory Bible Church tomorrow. But we got each other. And sometimes that's all we can really depend on. We hope that in the 11th hour, Southern California Edison comes around and comes to their senses. But if not, we're going to continue to support one another. You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Detroit City Council President Mary Sheffield has been elected mayor, making history as the city's first woman to hold the role.
Thank you for your support, your prayers, your trust, and your confidence, and for believing in a vision that we share for this great city.
She'll succeed Mayor Mike Duggan, who's running for Michigan governor in 2026. Syracuse, New York has elected Democrat Sharon Owens as its next mayor, making her the city's first Black mayor and second woman to hold the office. The current deputy mayor defeated 3 opponents and will succeed term-limited Mayor Ben Walsh. And a Buckhead Homeowners Association fund will upkeep the historic Piney Grove Cemetery, a Black burial site in Georgia with about 300 graves from the early 1800s. The Bluffs at Lenox HOA agreed to cover maintenance costs after a court ruling confirmed it was part of their rezoning deal. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Do you really know what's in your tap water? We believe your water should support your health, not work against it. Upgrade your home with a LifeSource whole house system. Clean water from every tap, no salt, no hassle. Call 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com.
Warranty limitations apply.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are back in action tonight at Crypto.com. They get their first look this season at Victor Wembanyama and a very improved San Antonio Spurs team. The Spurs are 5-1. The 7'5" Wembanyama leads the NBA in block shots and ranks second in rebounding. 7 o'clock tip-off tonight on ESPN. The USC women's basketball team won their season opener Tuesday night. The Trojans beat New Mexico State 87-48. It's going to be a very different season for the Trojans. They will not have All-American Juju Watkins for the entire season. Doctors advised the Compton native to sit out the season to give her right knee a chance to heal completely. Watkins suffered a torn ACL in the second round of the NCAA tournament in March. Without Watkins, the Trojans are not expected to be a contender for the national championship. The Trojans are ranked number 18 in the preseason top 25 poll. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay!
Open enrollment is your opportunity to choose a plan that connects you to Providence's comprehensive healthcare network. Choose a plan that includes Providence and gain access to a dedicated team of highly trained primary care physicians and specialists. From nationally recognized doctors and hospitals, Providence ensures quality care is always within reach. When you choose Providence, you choose after-hours care through our nurse advice line, urgent care, or virtual express care. You choose 24/7 access through the Providence mobile app to message providers, request prescription refills, schedule appointments, check lab results, and more. This open enrollment, prioritize your well-being with the peace of mind that comes from choosing a provider that values excellence and compassionate care. Don't just choose a plan. Choose a plan dedicated to health equity and community engagement. Choose a plan that believes health is a human right. Choose a plan that delivers exceptional care and cares about your community. Choose a plan that offers Providence. Visit chooseprovidence.org to learn more.
Tired of people speaking for you? Tired of being minimized, misunderstood, misconstrued, and erased? It's time to speak out and be heard. It's time to get with KBLA Talk 1580. We are black-owned and unapologetically progressive.
And we've got a lot to talk about.
All I need is one mic. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Southern California Edison confirmed to show up this week for our Altadena Town Hall, but then they reneged on their promise. KBLA Talk 1580 organized a town hall specifically for Black Altadena residents, people whose homes, memories, and futures went up in smoke when SCE's equipment sparked the flames. This wasn't some ambush or gotcha moment. This was a community saying, we need answers. We need to understand how this so-called fast pay program actually works. We need to know if justice will ever reach us. And Edison said no. Let's be crystal clear about what that means. This wasn't a scheduling conflict. This was a choice that tells Black Altadena residents that even after the fire, even after the devastation, even after admitting fault through the settlement program, they still don't matter enough for a couple of hours of Edison's time. You know what takes courage? Facing people you've harmed. Sitting in a room and yes, live on talk radio with folks who lost everything because of your infrastructure failures and explaining how you intend to make it right. That takes backbone. That's what real accountability looks like. When you're the reason people lost everything, you don't get to cancel on survivors waiting for answers. You don't get to send your regrets to KBLA and call it a day. This is about respect, or rather, the complete lack of it. This is the same pattern of neglect that may have led to the fires in the first place, and now they're doubling down on disrespect in the aftermath. The residents of Altadena have endured enough hell, and now they are navigating the nightmare of settlement claims, trying to understand what they are actually entitled to receive. Southern California Edison, you owe Black Altadena more than money. You owe them your presence, your transparency, your time, and you owe KBLA Talk 1580 a public apology, I might add. And until we get it, we're going to keep emailing the top dog at SCE, Mr. Pedro Pizarro. His email is pedro.pizarro@sce.com. Pizarro spelled P-I-Z-A-R-R-O. pedro.pizarro@sce.com. Or you can call 626-302-2255 and then press the number 1. That's 626-302-2255 and then press the number 1 to speak to a live person and express yourself. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to welcome my next guest. If you didn't know, LA Tech Week has taken place, and as a part of the Canadian Consulate's Black Tech Express program, I'm talking to someone who is on the verge of changing the world, starting with America's aging population. It's no secret to so many of our leaders, learners, and listeners that for a number of years, I did advocacy work on behalf of seniors across America, working for one of the biggest nonprofit advocacy organizations in the world. And so when I first learned about your work, I'm like, oh my goodness, we have to share that with folks, because what you're doing, though you're Canadian based, what you're doing impacts the world. As America's population ages and millions in the sandwich generation juggle care for both children and aging parents, your company is reimagining how healthcare reaches patients where they are. We're talking about ViStat. It's a healthcare technology program that connects patients with what's called health proximity agents. Welcome, David Dubourg, the COO of ViStat Solutions, to the show. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, Dr. Quartey. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. And so, first things first, talk to us about this technology platform. Keep it very high level. Let's not geek out too quickly. Sure. But what is this ViStat healthcare technology platform, and how's it going to change people's lives?
Yeah, well, that's a big question, and that is the objective. It is bold, but that's the objective. And to keep it simple, I think the first thing we need to understand is what we call here at ViStat is the last mile in healthcare. What that is the mile that actually gets you to your destination, which is recovery. When that mile is broken, what happens is you then fall into a loop. And it's a loop of avoidable readmissions to the hospital. It's a loop of wasted resources. And it's a loop of lost trust in the system. So what we do is we close that loop. We complete the destination. How? Well, you alluded to it. It's with the HPAs. The HPAs are health proximity agents. Health proximity agents, they combine the ViStat technology with the human touch. And what we make sure is that every patient is brought home with their prescription, that they understand their prescription and their treatment. And then we're able to plan through the app some follow-ups in order to track the adherence. Because what we've realized is out of all the discharges, the hospital discharges, 10% go back due to avoidable readmissions. 10%, that's a huge number. And 2/3 of that 10% go back because they stopped their treatment in some way. So they have not adhered to their medication. 30% of the people that leave the hospital never go and get their medication. So in Quebec alone, with 9 million people, that's $500 million of direct costs every year. And we're not factoring all the indirect costs. So that's what we're addressing when we say we're addressing the last mile in healthcare.
Wow. So for folks who may be less familiar with how this works, essentially, one of the big drivers of healthcare costs are folks who are readmitted. People who didn't take the medication as prescribed. When they got home, they didn't do the exercises as prescribed. And unless you have a caregiver that is side by side really tracking with what the doctor has prescribed and what you're actually doing, you're just kind of left to your own devices. And so ViStat exists to sort of centralize that information. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. I remember when my mom, was recovering from a procedure, and to track, medications and track, okay, she's got to do this and that, on top of meals, on top of managing phone calls from friends and family members. it quickly becomes the job of a small army. And so, talk to us about the inspiration for VISTAT.
Well, it's funny you say this because what brought it to very much this point, because VISTAT in the beginning was a delivery company, and we really wanted to but basically the only thing we did was deliver the medication from the pharmacies directly to the patient's homes. When we started looking into the last mile, is because I had a family member also that was recovering from an operation, from a pretty serious operation, and the whole process was complicated. It's not only the hospital discharge is something that in Quebec takes between 2 to 4 hours on average. So that means when you get your discharge, and by the time you leave the building, which should be something that is quite rapid, quite fast, it takes between 2 to 4 hours to coordinate everything with the social workers and the medication and so on. So that experience, and the fact that when it was my mother, so when my mother got home, the treatments kept going because the family is now very much involved. And this is something that people don't necessarily understand, but when you don't close that loop, and when you're stuck in that loop, I should say, of avoidable readmissions, and you don't actually complete the last mile, it's not just the patient that is in that loop, it's the families, because the families often have the burden of taking care of that patient. So with that, we see this as lost potential. I was mentioning the $500 million number earlier. If you factor in the indirect costs, like I mentioned, the families, we're talking about much bigger figures. We're talking about figures that are even hard to quantify. So with us moving towards home care all across the world, we need to make sure that we not only have the tools for home care to be successful, but we believe that you also need to have a human component to it, because we're dealing with the elderly, we're dealing with the vulnerable, we're dealing with people that don't necessarily know how to use the technology that we're going to be providing them. So we need to have a conduit. We need to have that person that's going to make sure that we're able to track and we're able to monitor and we're able to really have people adhere to their medication, because that's how you keep people home.
I mean, I think this is incredible. And so a lot of folks calling this the Uber of medication delivery, as you mentioned, designed to reduce hospital readmissions and make healthcare more human and more accessible. How long has VISTAT Solutions existed? And talk to us a little bit more about the origin story. I know you're based in Canada, but obviously on this global platform, people outside of Canada can access it. No,
absolutely. Well, we've been very fortunate. We've scaled across Africa this year, so we're on the African continent. We're in Côte d'Ivoire, and we signed also a contract on Comoros Islands. So very, very happy. The again, pilots with the government. The way that we approach it is hospital discharge in most countries is something that is managed by government, or indirectly it is through who's actually paying. What that does is that we need to start at the top. And when we start at the top, we get proper access. And with access, we're then able to really address the problem. You mentioned Uber. Uber, it's interesting because in a sense, there is a transportation aspect to it, but we really we see the HPAs as being fundamentally different, because Uber delivers people. They deliver pizza or food, for example, and we don't just deliver pills. We want to deliver outcomes. And this is the major difference. What we deliver is medication adherence. What we deliver is of diminishing avoidable hospital readmissions. So we very much focus on the results much more than on the process to really understand what it is we do. Because yes, it can translate in transportation and going in medication delivery, but what it really means is families getting their freedom back, and it's health having a clear destination. Like, it's the system is supposed to end when you get healthy, and then you're supposed to be out of that loop. You're not supposed to be on a trajectory to go right back in. So that's what we're fixing. not just doing city logistics.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. September is World Alzheimer's Month, a time to shine a light on a public health crisis that deeply impacts Black families. 1 in 5 Black adults ages 70 and older is living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD, and the risk is twice as high compared to white adults. But AD isn't just forgetting a name or losing track of time. Signs of early AD could be repeating questions, missing appointments, or struggling with bills and daily tasks. These things aren't a normal part of aging. Here's the good news. Treatments are available that may help if AD is diagnosed early. If you notice changes in memory or daily routines, whether in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatalsearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com to learn more about the signs and symptoms and a potential treatment option. This message is brought to you by AZI.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We face tragedy,
but we don't fall into despair.
We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
Man, this is incredible. I mean, we talk about, the kind of radical imagination that this moment in history demands, not just politically, but technologically, this platform that you all have built, this healthcare technology platform, really meets the moment. Really delighted to learn that you all are scaling in the motherland.
Yes.
Talk to us about, what achieving these outcomes that you all are setting out to achieve. Talk to us about what that might mean for Black people around the world. I know that your family immigrated from Haiti to Canada, and clearly VISTAT is capturing the attention of Black folks in Canada, across this country, in the United States, and around the world, so much that the Canadian Consulate's Black Tech Express program hitched up with you. And so talk to us about what this platform could mean, how it could be a game changer for Black people around the world.
Well, that's what we're most proud of. It's if we use the example of the African continent, what we do over there is slightly different. The scope is much broader, and we're positioned as a supplier for digitalizing the sanitary systems. So what we do is we bring in the technology, and then we we interconnect all the different actors of the system. That has a direct outcome on patient care and on access to healthcare. Uh, just example, in Africa, we do medication delivery with drones to reach remote areas. Having access to medication is literally a life and death situation. So having an impact on that, when we pick up momentum in this industry, momentum saves lives. So this is actually what we're doing here in LA. During LA Tech Week, we're in a fundraiser. We're always in a fundraiser, but I say this because with government contracts, liquidity is not necessarily an issue for us. So dilution is a choice. It's a strategic choice that we make because we see the size of the issue, but also the size of the opportunity. They always come hand in hand. So with the right partners, we're really able to make a huge dent on healthcare access on the continent that you needs it the most. And we're able to do it. And that's perhaps the most beautiful thing is the way that we structure our contracts, so the way that we get in is we're able to make it a three-way situation, if I can say, which is we bring in the technology, the countries give us access, and with the third party that is the lender lends us, but he's going to make his money back because of our business model. Why this is important is because it means that everyone wins in this scenario. The lender wins, we win because we're able to really implement the system, and the country wins because they're now digitalized. And often the lender can be the World Health Organization. It can be foundations like the Bill Gates Foundation, any foundations that are looking to help in the digitalization of the sanitary systems across the world. And when you do such a thing, you move you mentioned DC earlier, so you're completely familiar with that. You're going to be able to move from just reacting to really being able to govern with orientations that are based on data. And to me, that's the role of a government, is to govern with orientations that are based on data. So you need data. And what we provide is not only data, but it's data on the most important thing, which is health. So yes, we're incredibly proud of the impact that we're having. And our CEO was with us yesterday at Vice Tech Week. He left this morning because he's in Congo right now, negotiating again another country to add. So we're thrilled, very much so.
Wow, that's incredible. And so, look, how can our leaders, learners, and listeners, how can they, tap in and number one, utilize the technology, and two, what's your pitch to, investors, donor activists who might be listening right now and looking to invest in technologies of the future?
Well, my pitch would be join in now. Join in now because this is tech, and we know tech moves very fast. What we're building here is not just a technology; it's really infrastructure. The contracts that we have, people need to understand that they combine the resilience and the access of the public sector with the scalability of the private sector. So, with what we've already signed, whether that's the pilot in Quebec or the two countries in Africa, and what Steve is negotiating right now, just with what we've already secured, not considering what is in negotiation, we're talking over $500 million of projected revenue in the next 5 years. We believe to have a clear path to IPO, and our margin are over 80%. Just to be clear, that's 24 times the return over a 2-year period. If Steve was to close Congo right now, those figures would go exponentially. So what we like to say is we're not building a business. With the last mile in healthcare, we feel like we're designing a new asset class. So that's the adventure we want people to join us on. How you do it? Well, they can always reach us on our website, vicestat.com, VAISTAT.com, and we can connect and really see if there's a fit and see how we can bring it to your region. Now, we normally deal directly with hospitals, directly with governments, directly with pharmacies. So the partners that are able to help us scale across new markets are directly those we're looking for. Because again, we're diluting by choice.
We really appreciate you for joining us today. I have no doubt that this technology is a game changer and could very well transform the future of caregiving. It could very well transform how cross-border innovation between Canada and the U.S., how that drives smarter healthcare solutions. And this could actually help improve the health outcomes of not just Black people across North America and Africa and the whole diaspora, but all people. This is certainly a time where we need all the solutions we can get to close that last mile when it comes to access to healthcare that helps us all to achieve the promise of longevity. I mean, to think that there are a lot of folks who are readmitting in the hospitals and healthcare settings because they just didn't follow all the directions, or they were overwhelmed with all the instructions that they got from their healthcare provider. And so to have a platform that makes that easy, not just for them, but for their caregivers and their loved ones, that is pretty incredible.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the platform. We absolutely believe that the objective, the goal is not too big and is very important. It's addressing that has been very rewarding. So we're just thankful to be in this position and to have that chance to make that impact. So absolutely. And everything you've described is pinpoint what we're looking to do. Now, there's obviously a lot of technology involved that we haven't even touched on, but just for example, we have a speech to text component because we really want to make it as easy as possible. So the elderly can be from their homes, and every day after in the first 30 days of the discharge, they can monitor on how they feel. I'm feeling a bit queasy today. I woke up a little bit later. My head is a bit dizzy, but it doesn't hurt. Yesterday it was hurting, so I'm happy it doesn't. I'm going to see how it goes along the day, and it can stop. And it can do this throughout the day to really monitor their health and really give information to their caregivers.
Well, our thanks to David Dubourg. He's the COO of Vistat Solutions. Again, you can go to vistat.com to learn more. That's Vistat, VAISTAT. Our thanks to you.
Thank you, Dr. Quartey.
You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Detroit City Council President Mary Sheffield has been elected mayor, making history as the city's first woman to hold the role.
Thank you for your support, your prayers, your trust, and your confidence, and for believing in a vision.